Brad Howe joins us. And Brad Howe, because it's rivalry weekend, West Virginia is playing Iowa State.
One of the downfalls of being in the Big 12, Hop, you're exactly right.
We have no
brawl today.
No backyard brawl, no rivalry game, except you're playing Iowa State. So, ho-hum. That's it.
Well, don't be ho-hum. This is a big game.
No, I'm not. Actually, I'm into it. I'm into it. And I tell you, I actually think it's fascinating because you have no idea what to expect. I mean, you have no idea what the emotional state of Iowa State is. I suspect they're going to be sky high. I suspect because I think they love Paul Rhodes.
That would be the logical choice. All indications are that team loves Paul Rhodes is right. You listen to what some of their players have said in the media, and that certainly bears fruit. The question just becomes, I'm with you. I would expect they're going to come out ready to play and give a great effort. The thing is, this just isn't a very good Iowa State team. So how far can that emotion actually carry this team? I think that's the biggest question.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. Emotion will guarantee that you show up and play hard, but then you got to have skills, and they just don't have a lot of skills. They got a good running back in Mike Warren, and he's a good freshman running back, but beyond that, and they're just not that good.
Yeah, and they've got pieces. You're right. Warren has been very good. They've actually got 3 receivers that are very good. One of them, Alan Lazard, is as good as anybody in America. He was wanted by nearly everyone. Comes out of Urbandale, Iowa, which is not far from Ames. Lanning is in it, quarterback Joel Lanning, which was a source of the friction between Rhodes and the offensive coordinator Mark Mangino that led to Mangino's ouster a couple weeks ago. And I think the dangerous thing, if you're the Mountaineers, when you look at this Iowa State team, they do have a few of those pieces. Their problem this year, and ultimately this led to Rhodes' firing, they can't close this year.
Right.
They have been right there in a bunch of games, including the last 2 weeks, leading by double digits. Last week against Kansas State, they were up 7 with 91 seconds to go and couldn't finish. They took Iowa, who's number 3 in the college football rankings. They were tied with Iowa with 2 minutes to go in the game. So they've been right there against some teams. They just can't finish. But at the end of the day, Hop, here's what you need to look at. This team in Iowa State hasn't won a conference road game since it beat West Virginia in 2013. So it's a team that has some pieces. We can build a case for the emotion around Paul Rhodes. At the end of the day, this is a team West Virginia should handle pretty easily tomorrow.
I don't even remember that game in 2013. I might have been there.
No, it was a bad night for West Virginia. Double overtime game. It was
in the midst of
that just bad season for West Virginia. They lost to Kansas that year and Iowa State. It was ugly. Remember, West Virginia had them. They were down double figures. Iowa State came storming back. That's the last time Iowa State has won on the road. So this tells you what this team's been like the last couple of years.
So the Lions, 2 touchdowns, that's about right?
Yeah, I think that's about right. I mean, again, this team has struggled in Iowa State. West Virginia is streaking right now. They're playing better against some of that's attributed to the schedule. We have to be fair about that. These have been some not very good teams West Virginia's faced. It gets another one tomorrow. But West Virginia's running game has been very good. I think that 2-touchdown mark is about right.
Speaking of the schedule, and this week the schedule for next season came out. I know you've talked about that some as you've hosted Sportsline This Week in Hotline. What's your take on the schedule?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch because there's no question this year was so difficult because you had the 4 ranked teams. So it prohibited, even if West Virginia had a shot to contend for a league title into November, that took that off the table. Right. But at the end of the day, Hoppy, if this team goes out and does what it should and wins 5 straight, then plays in a bowl game, could win 6 straight, that's a heck of a lot of momentum heading into next year. You look at next year's schedule, I wonder if the complaint will be, oh my gosh, you backloaded us so much. You've got Oklahoma and Baylor as 2 of your final 3 games. So next year it's extremely difficult on the back end. But again, as we've always said, when you're playing in a league that has a round-robin format, when you can't avoid any of the other teams, you're going to have a tough stretch of your schedule. It's just a matter of when that falls.
Well, October, I mean, going back to that, October was brutal and almost unconscionable to think that the schedule would come out that way. However, next year, you're right, so it's backloaded. But you know what? If you're pretty good next year and you beat teams you're supposed to beat, et cetera, then you might be, in fact, competing for a conference championship and playing teams and having meaningful games in November.
Well, there's no question. And just at the end of the day, it doesn't matter when you play those teams. You just have to be good and beat them. I mean, look what Baylor and TCU.
Well, it does matter. It does matter because you don't want to matter. It does matter. You don't want to play those games. You don't want to play 4 top 10 teams in a row. You don't want to do that.
Go look what Oklahoma's doing. They're doing the same thing to finish the season. They're not complaining. They're just going to win games. Oklahoma State doing the same thing. TCU doing the same thing. they're playing their games late in the season, and that's just part of the deal. I mean,
Did you not acknowledge numerous times the brutality of the October schedule? How really difficult that was. And you'd like to have it more spaced out, wouldn't you?
Well, Oklahoma, that's what I'm saying. Oklahoma doesn't, TCU doesn't, Oklahoma State doesn't. They're playing the same schedule, but just backloaded. They're getting those games now. So what's the difference? What's it matter if you have it in October or the end of November?
How good's the basketball team?
That's a good question. That's a nice win last night. They were tested by Richmond. That had a late season feel to it.
Yeah.
This team's got to get a lot better. I mean, losing Jawan State is not easy to replace, and it looks early as if what everybody thought the issue was going to be, who takes over at point guard, because you don't have a true point guard on this roster.
Yeah.
That looks to be the question they have to answer. Devin Williams, on the other hand, has been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
A double-double in every game. He looks to be living up to the hype so far, but he's going to need some help on the offensive end.
Teams know that, and they're just packing it in. I mean, Williams is a man, but if there's no threat from the outside, good teams are going to pack it in, and at some point that's going to catch up to you.
Yeah, and that's what you're going to see tonight against San Diego State, is some of those guys are going to have to start hitting the shots from outside, because you're right, teams are just going to continue to keep backing in on Williams and saying, all right, someone else beat us. Those guys are going to have to step up.
Would it have been better for West Virginia if Cal had won that game, because then West Virginia would play a ranked team and start to get noticed, or is it still November? Doesn't matter. Who cares?
You know, I talked to Tony about that very same thing this morning. That's my take on it. I would have rather them take on number 14 Cal, make a little bit of a national splash if you can get a win. San Diego State's been a very good program over the years. You just don't know what they have this year. Will they end up being an NCAA tournament team? So, yeah, my take would be I would have rather seen West Virginia get Cal, although this will be a good test tonight as well.
Brad House with us, MetroNews Sports. Texas Tech beat Texas. I don't know. Why is there a surprise in my voice when I say that? I'm not sure.
Because at the very least, Texas has handled Texas Tech. That's just, you talk about a big brother beating up on little brother. They have. Texas Tech goes into their place last night and gets a win.
Wow.
That's going to be another long, loud off season for Charlie Strong and Austin. That's another tough loss, because as we saw, that Texas Tech team just isn't very good.
Isn't very good, but Texas is not. It's amazing how bad Texas is. And I know they're playing a lot of young people. I know that Mac Brown, I mean, I know that maybe things weren't in great shape, but still they got a ton of athletes. They're bad and underperforming, in my opinion.
That's well said. Bad and underperforming, and for 2 straight years. I mean, that's the other thing. Is it got no better this year for Texas.
It got worse.
I mean,
they got worse.
It did get worse. Yeah, it got worse because they've got a tough game against Baylor to finish their season. So they're in some real trouble there. And again, you hate to say a guy's on a hot seat after 2 years, but that talk is really going to flare up again because they're just flat out terrible.
It may, but I don't know if you can. I mean, yes, in today's climate, but I would think 2 years, you got to be. You can't be on the firing hot, can you? After 2 years?
Well, the only way you can, and here's what we don't know. I mean, it's easy from the outside to look at them and say they're terrible. Here's what you can't see. You don't know how bad it was when he took over, which I know is hard to believe from the outside. Mac Brown's a Hall of Famer and he has a national championship. It's hard to know exactly how much rebuilding he had to do inside that locker room and culture-wise. So if you're staring at that and it was really at rock bottom for them, and he had a long way to build it, then I think you're going to get some more patience. And that's what those of us outside of the locker room and that community we just don't know that. So that's what you're waiting on.
Who would be, since this is rivalry weekend and you're not playing Pitt until whenever, who would be West Virginia's, is Maryland the biggest, is that what you got? I mean, who's your biggest conference rival, even though they would not view West Virginia as a rival?
I think you've got to say Baylor at this point. And I'm gonna here's my justification for taking Baylor. Baylor's been very good, so I think you need somebody that's been very good that you can go after. 2, you've had some close games. Not every one of them has been close, but you've had some close ones, including the first one in the Big 12, 70-63. You had that game in Morgantown last year.
Right. And
then the third piece of it was it seems each meeting with these two teams, there's some chippiness. Mm-hmm. And there's some yapping back and forth, and there's some screaming. So I think that adds to the rivalry. So I think if I'm picking one right now, I will go Baylor, although I don't know if Baylor views that because they've got about 10 other rivals in this league.
They really do. If you could, as following West Virginia and covering West Virginia, put on a little bit of a fan hat here. If you could pick one team to be West Virginia's rival in the Big 12, who would it be?
I think the easy answer is you take Oklahoma or Texas. because those are the bell cows in this league. Those are the two with the biggest national rep over time, especially in college football. Those have been 2 of your 5 top programs. So if I was picking, all things being equal, I would take one of those 2 schools.
Would you have let Paul Rhodes coach this week?
Yes, I absolutely would. And my theory on that is, and I know Jamie Pollard, their athletic director, from working with him at Maryland, is a good guy, is a caring guy. I know this was a tough decision for him. Yes, I view this as almost a going away party for Paul Rhodes, even though it's a firing. Give him one last week with his guys. Give his guys one last week to send him off in what they hope is a proper way. So, yes, rather than Sunday after the game, this Sunday you fire Rhodes, some of those kids have scattered. They don't get a chance to say goodbye to the guy that brought them to Iowa State. I like it. In this situation, those two, Pollard and Rhodes, have a good relationship. Rhodes is well-liked. I think this is the right thing to do. Give him the last week to say goodbye to his guy.
What's a better job, Maryland or Iowa State?
Maryland. You've got resources. You've got more talent in the area. You've got Under Armour's money. Iowa State's a really tough gig. They've got a great fan base, one of the most underrated in the country, in my opinion. They keep showing up every single Saturday, even though they've been bad. That's a really tough job. Much like West Virginia, there's not a lot of D1 kids coming out of Iowa, so you've got to go get them from somewhere else, and you're a clear number 2 in your own state to the Iowa Hawkeyes. You fall even further down when Iowa has a year like they're having this year. So I think Maryland's definitely a better job.